Up front now, Ian Bremmer, president and founder of the Eurasia Group and author of The Power of Crisis. So let me just start off with, where we are here now. Fred talking about the Russian ambassador to the UN, right? Saying the U.S. is controlling the war, saying that it was a purposeful provocation between Poland and the U.S. to escalate this, happening during the G20. What do you think happened here?
Well, what happened is that the Russians have engaged in an unprecedented number of missile strikes against civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, all across the country, in the middle of the G20, when the Americans and all of their allies are meeting together in Bali, saying very clearly to the U.S., we don't care about your pressure. We're going to act with impunity. And of course, some of those missile strikes literally feet away from the Polish border. So the fact that this is the first time that we've actually had civilians getting killed in Poland is almost a surprising issue given how the war's been proceeding.
So does the missile, though, and it is a surprise, right? Yeah. But does the fact that it now has hit Poland change anything in this war?
It changes a few things. First of all, let's keep in mind the Polish government has been among the hardest line advocates of punishing the Russians and supporting the Ukrainians. Right. Huge amount of military support. They've hosted millions of Ukrainians in their homes.
Yes.
Right. And the fact that they were one of the few that was supporting a ninth round of economic sanctions in the EU, many others didn't. There'll be more pressure for that now. We'll also see the Ukrainian contact group, dozens of countries just met earlier today. There will be a comprehensive package put together for air and missile defense for the Ukrainians, greater than they otherwise would have received.
Right, and this is what they've been asking for, right? In addition to longer range missiles and other things. Now, the thing is this is all in the context of this sort of rising discussion yet again. It kind of pepples up at times that this is time to have a negotiation. And today, the Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley said this. Let me play it. Sure.
Winter gets very, very cold, and the natural tendency is for tactical operations are going to naturally probably slow down. If there's a slowdown in the actual tactical fighting, if that happens, then that may become a window, possibly, it may not, for a political solution, or at least the beginnings of talks to initiate a political solution.
Is that reasonable or is that hopeful?
Well, it's hopeful, but I want to be very clear. The only reason that negotiations will ever have any chance is because the United States and NATO allies have done so much in holding together and providing the Ukrainians the ability to change the facts on the ground, to defend themselves and to counterattack against the Russians. The Russian president has shown absolutely not one iota of willingness of sitting down at a negotiating table and engaging. So if there is going to be a negotiation, it is going to have to be from a position of strength where the Ukrainians and the allies can impose minimum settlements. We aren't there yet. But over the coming weeks and months, we'll be in a better position. Ukraine will be in a better position. And I think that's what General Milley is getting at here. He's saying not that suddenly the Ukrainians should be suing for peace and giving up territory, but rather that creating Ukraine as what will be the strongest armed country, best trained, most defended in all of Europe, is a very different position than they were in when the Russians invaded on February 24th. And that's a position that you can have negotiations with.
And to be clear, as we all know, and I was there on February 24th, there was no evidence of it. People didn't know it. You would look up how big was their military. Nobody expected, right? What we've seen.
Nobody expected. Absolutely, that's right.
And so now I want to ask you about something here because you're involved in all of this. The Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs put out a statement on Friday about sanctions, right? That they are sanctioning people, individuals that are, quote, involved in ratcheting up the anti-Russia campaign and supporting the regime in Kyiv. You are on the list, number 23, Ian Arthur Bremmer.
It was alphabetical. It wasn't. I wasn't 23rd most important.
You said
what do you want?
All right. What is your reaction to this?
I guess I'm honored. If I look at the other people, Jim Stavridis, who, the admiral, used to run NATO. Ivo Daalder, my friend, was the ambassador to NATO. A lot of governors, a lot of senators. Tim Snyder, who is probably the most articulate historian of Soviet history and European history in the country today. Look, if you are in a position with a platform that is advising anyone that matters and you are speaking truth about what's happening on the ground in Russia and Ukraine, you are considered an enemy of the Russian regime. It is, as someone who used to live in Russia and who used to live in Ukraine, it saddens me that that's what it's come to, because I love the Russian people. I love the culture. I speak the language, but I also am not shy about telling you what I think. And the Russian government has a serious problem with that.
All right. Ian, thank you very much. We're glad to hear you and glad to have this platform and to hear your views.